What's up, everybody? It is the Fantasy NBA today. It is Rick Kamla, Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, and we have William Harris back with us. William Harris, of course, at William is B. Love that Twitter handle, by the way. At William is B, host of the All Rookie podcast on the SportsEthos Network. William, welcome back with your boys Cam and Doc. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, Rick. So glad to be back with you guys. You let me back, so I'm happy.
Well, you killed it, man. And obviously, we're a big fan of your work, and we love working with you and hanging out with you, man. And so let's hang out and talk some hoops. We're talking Summer League guys, rookies. We'll talk about some of the vets at the Summer League, but it's really kind of a Summer League recap from a fantasy perspective with an absolute expert on this rookie class. I do start with a veteran because I think it's kind of, newsy and noteworthy. And Doc and I have been talking about this guy, and even going back to last year, like we joked, Aaron Bruschi couldn't do a show without talking about Keon Ellis. Doc couldn't do a show without talking about Ty Jerome, and I couldn't do a show without talking about Kyle Filipowski. Every single show, somehow, somewhere, we're talking about those guys. Filipowski was just named Summer League MVP, okay? So, William, what does your fantasy crystal ball foretell for Filipowski this upcoming season?
For me, I originally thought, I was like, he'll probably have to be the backup 4 or backup 5 because they have so many young guys coming in with the high draft capital. But after this Summer League, I think it's going to be really hard to have Filipowski coming off the bench. You said it before. You envision him as a starter. I see it as well. Like you said, Summer League MVP, 29 points per game, 8 rebounds. He was dominant. Clearly didn't even need to be there. I don't know. They might have a question with Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler has been mentioned in trade rumors in the past. Lauri Markkanen, same thing. One of them probably is going to have to go, but Filipowski is going to have to get minutes. You agree, Doc?
I love Filipowski, dude. I absolutely love Filipowski. And his Summer League performance was stellar. Like, he's too good for Summer League. That's the saying that I'm using for him. He's too good for Summer League. And if he's too good for Summer League, he should be ready to roll for Utah. I'm fired up about Filipowski.
For me, guys, it comes down. It's a pivot between Walter Clayton Jr. and Kyle Filipowski, and I love them both. Ace Bailey to me is going to start. I kind of think Isaiah Collier's going to start. I'm not sure I would rock that way, but I do feel good about him starting. Ace Bailey starting, Markkanen starting, and Kessler starting. That leaves one spot. Do you go, Markkanen at 3, Filipowski at 4, and go sort of jumbo, or do you go, Markkanen at 4, then Bailey, then Clayton Jr., then Collier? I think they could go one of two ways. I don't know right now. If you said, okay, pick one of those toggle Utah guys, I would take Filipowski over Walter Clayton Jr., although in a dynasty draft. So since we're on this thought bubble, William, I do want to ask you this. In a dynasty draft, I would rather have Walter Clayton Jr. than Filipowski. I'm into Walter Clayton Jr., man. I think this guy could be a really, really big deal. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I just think he could be a really, really big deal. You're on the clock in a dynasty draft. It's these two guys. You taking Filipowski or are you taking Walter Clayton Jr.?
That's tough. I think I would have to go with Filipowski, though. He's more of a sure thing.
Okay.
Walter Clayton is, I believe it, but I haven't seen it in the actual NBA. So I would be more on the safe side and go with Filipowski. But both choices are great choices.
I love it. Doc, do you want to answer that? I know you're not a big dynasty guy, but who would you rather have rest of career for as we sit here right now, Clayton or Filipowski?
I'm going to go with Filipowski for now.
Gotcha, man. Doc, you got a question for William?
I do. First of all, William, sorry I missed the show last Wednesday. I was unavoidably detained. It had nothing to do with you, obviously. So I'm glad to be here with you today. Trey Johnson, smooth score, right? He had a nice summer league, I thought. Is he going to make an impact this year?
Yeah, he's another player that stood out to me. I knew he was going to be good. He looked like I thought he would for the most part, but his creating his own shot, ball handling, it really shined in the summer league, and his aggressiveness. I thought he'd be more like play a role. He came right out 20 points per game, 58% from the field, and 45% from three. It's going to be hard to keep him off the court as well. I saw one depth chart where they had him starting over CJ McCollum. I don't know if that's going to happen just because of, seniority, but it's clear that he's making his way up the starting roster. Marcus Smart is out of there, and Trey Johnson is destined to get big minutes this year, I believe. A lot more than I thought originally before Summer League.
Rick, you're muted.
Doc and I were just joking about this on the previous episode, and it's sort of an ongoing dialogue. William, I'll die on this hill. I have the best depth charts on earth. They're the only ones that matter, okay? You just said it. In the previous episode, Doc said that last year, CBS had Miles Bridges with a C eligibility. Miles Bridges, center eligible? You dummies. Are you kidding me? And, you just said it with I saw a depth chart out there. They had Trey Johnson starting over CJ McCollum. Every single thing that website has done with their depth charts is trash. You know that you can't rely. So it continues to gas me up, dude. So let's go to my depth chart for Washington. It's very, very, a lot of this is anybody's guess, okay? I believe that CJ McCollum is going to be traded, okay? Off season, in season, at the deadline. It may be all the way to February. I don't think he's going to finish the year in Washington. Chris Middleton, I believe at some point is going to get bought out. And it may be they try to trade him. They can't. Trade deadline passes. They buy him out, and he's in the buyout market. He's not finishing the year with Washington. So to me, I have a hard time seeing a pathway to playing time for Trey Johnson the first 60% of the season. If you see it differently, I'm listening. But I've got Sarr, Coulibaly, Middleton, McCollum, and Carrington in the starting five. Second unit is either Bagley or Vucevic, probably Bagley, Keyshawn George, Corey Kispert, Cam Whitmore, and Trey Johnson, who's a combo guard. Profiles more as a 2 than a 1, but there is a 1 in there too. And then you have A.J. Johnson, former first-round pick. Malachi Branham kind of lurks. Those are third unit guys. And Justin Champagne's the third unit guy. So you guys tell me. I think Trey Johnson, here's how I see Trey Johnson's season. You're playing backup minutes. They get rid of McCollum, they get rid of Middleton, and you are on center stage dancing in front of everybody for the last 2 months of the regular season. Silly season hero. Sink my battleship. William, you go first, and Doc, how do you agree with my read on the Wizards?
I agree with what you said. I definitely think he will come in slow and then take over, but I think it'll be before the last 2 months of the season because him and Sarr have the two highest draft capital that they've invested in on the team. So we know Bilal, high capital as well. Bub, pretty high capital as well. But for the future of this team, it's Trey Johnson and Alex Sarr and Bilal. But so I think, like you said, CJ McCollum is going to be traded. Same for Chris Middleton. He's going to be out of there as well. So they probably will showcase those guys for the first 2 or 3 months. But, then it's going to be hard to keep Trey Johnson off the court, though.
I like that. I don't know if CJ McCollum is getting traded or not. I love to hear someone other than me say that Chris Middleton will be gone soon enough. I can't wait for that day to get here. Rick, if Marvin Bagley is in front of Vooks on that depth chart when the season starts, I'm going to be livid. It's not even funny, man. Marvin Bagley is a joke. And Vucevic is a player that I want to see play. So if that happens, I am not going to be happy. And then as far as just Trey Johnson, he should get better as the season goes on. I would love to see him be relevant more than just the last couple months of the season. But I'm more of any rookie not named Cooper Flagg, I think is going to struggle to have a lot of fantasy relevance until silly season gets here. So, but I do like what you're saying. It does intrigue me. and it does bump Trey Johnson up my personal 30 deep ranking in my head that I keep. So yeah, I like it.
So I have Vucevic behind Bagley for one reason. I agree with you. Vucevic is on a two-way contract. That means he's spending time in the G League. And Bagley is on a veteran minimum contract, but he's on a fully guaranteed contract. That's the only reason I have Vucevic on the third string. Again, these other websites, they have Vucevic and then Bagley. You know that, right? What's sexier? Who said Vucevic is sexier, okay? I'll put him back up. Yo, he's on a two-way, bro. There are roster limitations that Bagley will not have to deal with. So anyway, Andre is chiming in with a question here, and I like it, William. This is for you. Is Trey Johnson's ceiling higher than Cam Thomas's?
Well, that's a good question. In my pre-draft evaluation, I compared Trey Johnson to Buddy Hield. So however you want to compare Buddy Hield to Cam Johnson. But like I said, I thought Trey Johnson would be more of a reduced role because in college, he was the aggressive scorer. He was the one-man team. In the NBA, that normally does not happen. He did that in Summer League, but once he gets on a big roster, will that role be reduced more like a Buddy Hield, which is still a valuable player for 10-plus years in the league? He's not as tall as Cam Johnson, but, he could have that trajectory.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if I said Cam Johnson, but Andre's question was Cam Thomas.
Oh, Cam Thomas.
And maybe just a juxtaposition there. I'm a huge Cam Thomas guy. Like if Cam Thomas can just be green lit and not bridled, I think we're getting 25 a game on that Brooklyn team. So I would say Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas. Damn, now I'm doing it on that one. All right, talk to me about Liam McNeeley, William Harris along the ride on the Fantasy NBA today with Cam and Doc.
Liam had a great summer league as well. Before summer league, another guy. I'm like, there is no path for minutes for this guy on the team. 29th pick in the draft. I didn't even know why they drafted him after drafting Khan. But after summer league, that showed me that he deserves minutes in the league. He looked more comfortable in summer league than he did in college, in my opinion. Rebounded very well, fit in perfectly with the team. Now when Khan comes out of the game, you can put Liam McNeeley in the game and you won't have that much of a drop off. So it depends on what they do with their depth chart, of course. But I think guys like Josh Green probably should be out of the depth chart. So Liam has a chance to get minutes. It may take a month or two, but he impressed, averaging 18 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 4 assists. He played very well to me.
Nice. I don't really have anything to say on Liam McNeeley, so I'm going to jump ahead to Yang Hansen. I know Rick and I think Andre were both kind of fired up about Yang Hansen's
kind of fired up.
Yeah, I get the sense that Rick is into Yang Hansen. I could see Yang Hansen being on Rick's 30 deep team. I could see it being on his dynasty teams. What do you think of Yang?
I loved his performance in Summer League. Like we mentioned last episode, a lot of guys thought it was a huge risk, like a reach. But to me, I had him ranked 24th. So he showed well. He doesn't speak English very well, but he speaks basketball very well. We saw him driving from the 3-point line all the way to the basket. Guys 7 feet should not be doing that. He did it multiple times. He constantly made tremendous passes, protected the paint. He showed everything you'd want to see from a guy you took 16th like that. And earlier than you expect, probably, because they probably thought he would be more of a project. So I think that Portland knows Klingon is a safe center, but Yang has that ceiling that could be ridiculous. So they have something special there. They're just going to have to mold it. Obviously, he'll start as a backup. Some people said G League. I don't know if he's going to be in the G League, if they get Robert Williams out of there and your boy Duop Reith.
Yeah, that's an interesting cluster of bigs. Hey, guys, if you want to ask us questions and get along for the ride, we would absolutely love that. Drop your questions in the comment section of our YouTube videos, and Andre will be on the lookout for that, and he'll bring a question or two up at the end of the show. I will say this, like on my depth chart for Portland, I've got Robert Williams on the 4th string. This is what I am kind of like, I'm struggling about this one. I've got Duop Reith, and then I've got Yang Hansen, and then I've got Robert Williams. It feels like Robert Williams is just kind of like on the outside, almost a little bit like Beal was in Phoenix before they bought him out. He doesn't fit. He's always hurt. I don't know. Like I've got him 4th string. You guys tell me I'm nutty here. I have a hard time putting Yang Hansen above Duop Reith, who's played and has been good and has been a part of the program for a while, and he's on a 3-year deal. Okay, so they like him. How does Yang Hansen just? You guys tell me. Do you agree? Reith, Hansen, Robert Williams. How would you stack it behind Donovan Clingan? Doc, you go first.
Well, we've been doing a lot of player ranking stuff, and sometimes you and I have reverse orders. Sometimes we're very close. It would not shock me if Robert Williams was number 2. It would not surprise me if he was number 4. Duop Reith, I feel like 2 years ago was coming on and making strides, and then last year they didn't really use him much at all. But now DeAndre Ayton is out of there, so it's a whole new world. I would like to see Yang be number 2, honestly. But I don't know, man. I this one is a head scratcher, and to me, the Time Lord, they've given up on the Time Lord. I don't know how much they value Reith, even though he's on a 3-year deal. But Yang's the guy that I'm kind of fired up about. So I don't know. I was going to ask you guys how you would rank the depth chart, and you just told us, Rick. What about you, William?
I would like to see Yang as the 2nd stringer as well. But I think if Robert Williams is healthy, he should be 2nd string. But Yang Hansen has huge popularity coming from China. The fans are not going to allow him to be 3rd or 4th string, after a few weeks. So they're going to be dying to see him. Portland's not going anywhere this year. I think he'll see the court sooner rather than later. They're going to have to put him out there.
Oh, my God. You've got to be kidding me. I just did a search here on Robert Williams, right? I asked AI, is Andre GPT, is Robert Williams healthy? No, Robert Williams is not currently fully healthy. He recently underwent arthroscopic surgery on his left knee, blah, 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 blah. And this appears to be a little bit old, but here we go. March of 2025, Robert Williams undergoes season-ending surgery. Okay, so in March, which was 4 months ago, had season-ending knee surgery. All right, so I feel great about having Robert Williams 4th on my depth chart here. I'm not worried about that at all. Guys, I'm changing this up right now. It makes no sense for Portland to draft Yang Hansen at 16, have him, there's buzz and hype about him. You bring in, by the way, I love the point you made, William. We can't forget about this. Business matters. Selling tickets, jerseys, visibility, attention. It all matters, right? Yang Hansen brings in China, okay? He brings is it a country or a continent? I don't know. It's a long time since geography class. It's billions of people that you are having. They care now about your club. I'm so glad we're having this conversation. Portland would be nuts not to play Yang Hansen 15 to 20 minutes a game. I mean, again, we like Duop Reith, right? We like Duop Reith. But Duop Reith over Yang Hansen? Like, come on, dude. I'm changing that right now. Yang Hansen and then Duop Reith and then Robert Williams. All right, and we're moving on. Next to Nick Clifford, William. He caught my eye. I know that he caught your eye as well.
Yeah, he was excellent out there. 15 points per game, 6.5 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal. He literally did everything well out there. He played point guard at times with a 9-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. So, I mean, he was excellent. He rebounded extremely well. His movement and footwork, that's what you want to see from 3-4 year veterans, So he looked great out there. The only knock people might say about him is he's 23 years old. Most rookies are not that old starting out, so they expect a 23-year-old to look that good. But there are other 23-year-olds in the summer league that did not look that good. So, I think Nick Clifford, last time I talked, y'all said, is there a guy to look out for? I mentioned Nick Clifford, so I had to toot my own horn. No, but he did great out there. So I had to do that, Rick.
Hit him with a "How you like me now?"
But yeah, and pre-draft, I compared him to a player like Aaron Wiggins from OKC. And Aaron Wiggins, that might sound like not a good thing, but Aaron Wiggins is a really good player. He just doesn't get that much of an opportunity in OKC, but when he does, he shows you what he can do. Nick Clifford can have that role for the Kings until they move some players around and eventually be a starter for the Kings.
Andre's adding that Robert Williams is, quote, expected to be ready to go by training camp, end quote. I feel as good about that as I feel about Joel Embiid. In any kind of report about him being expected to be ready to go, it's final. It's Hansen, it's Reith, it's Robert Williams. Ship it. That's my depth chart until something else pops up that would cause me to change that. All right, Doc, you got another question here for William Harris on the Fantasy NBA today.
I'm glad we got your Portland depth chart straightened out.
Oh my!
I was worried about
Gang hands, baby. I can sleep tonight. That now I have that resolved. I can finally get some sleep.
I think we all have it resolved. It makes sense. Asa Newell and Walter Clayton, both of them played well in summer league. Who do you think is going to be the better fantasy player this year? And is either of them draftable, like in a 12-man standard fantasy league?
That's a great question. They're both kind of in the same situation. They have a crowded backcourt, crowded front court, but Asa Newell looked great as a stretch four and with a great defensive presence. His outside shooting looked good as well. So, the Hawks can definitely use him, but obviously they're not going to play him over Porzingis or Okongwu, especially at least not right away. Same for Jalen Johnson. The Hawks are loaded, but he even shot some threes out there. So it's just going to take Porzingis sitting out or them moving Okongwu, and that probably won't happen in the first season. So I would think Walter Clayton would be more likely to play this season, be more fantasy effective. He had multiple 20-point games in the summer league, looked like a professional point guard. I've always compared him to older Jamal Murray. So if he can get out there on the court and show what he can do, it's going to be hard to keep him off the court. He's really, really good and, very comfortable out there. He played like a top 10 pick. He went around 18th. So you cannot deny Walter Clayton this year.
I want to get a Utah Jazz guest on, Doc, either this show or my NBA show later on. Like their beat writer. I don't know who Utah's beat writer is right now. Sarah Todd comes to mind. I think she's still up there. We had her on NBA radio a while back. I think Andy Larson's one of their guys too. But Andy Larson was the voter that kept SGA from beating Lowry Markkanen. Remember that year Lowry Markkanen won Most Improved, and it was just gross. Or did he vote on Kessler about something? I can't remember. Andy Larson made some kind of homer. Maybe he kept like Paulo from being. I can't remember what it was. But I know Andy Larson with one of his votes bothered the hell out of me. Andre wants us to rank Keontae George, Walter Clayton, and Isaiah Collier in fantasy for the next 3 seasons. I'll go first on this. I love Walter Clayton. I'm putting him 1. I'm bored with Keontae George. I'm gonna go Collier 2nd, and I'll go K George 3rd. Doc, you go next year. Fantasy over the next 3 seasons, and I'm since it's the next 3 seasons, I'm looking at this like a dynasty question. Who would I rather have over the next 3 years? That's how I'm processing this. Clayton, Collier, or George? I say Clayton, Collier, then George. Doc, what says you?
I do not know as much about this as you guys do, but I'm going to go Collier, Clayton, George. I want to love Keontae George. I want Keontae George to be the man and ball, but I think Collier's better, and I think Clayton's better. So I think the question here is it Clayton or Collier? I'm going to go Collier. Rick, you're going to go Clayton, and William with the tiebreaker.
I'm going to make it more messy, like Andre said. I'm going to go with Collier, Keontae George, and then Clayton. Just because I was higher on them coming into the league. I think Collier could be a all-star level point guard if he can get his shot down. He may not get his shot down, but he has that talent. Keontae George, he reminded me of Donovan Mitchell in college. So I can't just jump Walter Clayton up and be a prisoner of the moment. So I'm going to keep it like that for now.
I love it. I love it. I know a wetter when I see a wetter. Walter Clayton got a wetter, man.
He does.
He's got a wetter. I might do anytime, dude, like, and you know it as soon as you see it, man. It just comes off that, ooh, he got a wetter. Keegan Murray, right? First time I saw that dude play. I didn't watch him at Iowa, right? It's Iowa, who cares? He gets into the league. Dude, I understand what the fuss was about with Keegan Murray. He's got a wetter. Tell everybody. All right, I love Keegan Murray, man. Can you please make a trade in Sacramento so you can tee up Keegan Murray? There is such a better player in there than what he is giving us. Talk to us about Max Raynaud. I hope I'm saying his name right. It's like Maxine. I'll just go Max Raynaud. Talk to me about him.
He looked really good out there for Sacramento. Sacramento, with this draft pick, got him 42nd. We talked about Nick Clifford. They had one of the best drafts of all the teams. He was able to stretch the floor, made threes, shot it well. You know, guys are jumping out at him as he was at the three-point line, and he was able to get by. That's what you want to see. You know, he played the pick and roll very effectively, nice passes, played in the post well also. His defense is probably going to be the only question that might limit him from getting minutes in the NBA on the big stage. Can he hold up against the pros? We don't know that yet. He's not really a shot blocker or rim protector. You know, that's kind of the same situation Luka Garza was in because he was a dominant college player as well, especially offensively, but he couldn't get on the court because of defensive reasons. So we all want to see Maxime play, but if he doesn't, that will be why. But I expect him to get a little bit of run this year.
I've got a juicy question here. But before I do that, Rick, Paolo Banchero was not a unanimous winner of Rookie of the Year because Andy Larson voted for Walker Kessler.
That's it.
Additionally, he picked Lauri Markkanen, homer pick, to be on the second All-NBA team over Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and Julius Randle.
Andre, don't reach out to Andy Larson. We don't need ballot box stuffers. I almost cussed. I'm in a good zone with the cussing right now.
You've
right?
been doing a great job.
My filter's back. Like I was getting a little too free with the words, William. I was like, I'm in like a hip hop kick right now. Like I'm building a playlist of old school hip hop, right? So I'm going back and listening to albums and like, I want that. I don't want that. I want that. I don't want that. I got a whole project going on. So it led to me cussing a little bit more. Obviously, old school hip hop. There's a lot of cussing going on, and I don't want to hear the one where they blurt out the cuss words. That's boring. Like, can you imagine listening to Straight Outta Compton with the cuss words? But it'd be like every other note it'd go blank and silent on you. No, that's not fun. That's not fun at all.
You didn't give me the memo, Rick. You know, I should have had the backwards hat as well, you know, with the old school hip hop y'all got going on today.
Well, I just didn't have time to shower this morning. That's why I got the hat on. Okay. My hair, if I took my hat off right now, I'd look like the gray haired Carrot Top. Okay. Minus the plastic surgery. By the way, I got stuck in a rabbit hole last night. I was watching Greg Girardo videos. You remember that comedian who tragically died? Greg Girardo. Do you guys remember that name from the roasts?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, so I just kept watching his videos for about a half hour last night, just laughing my ass off, man. But anyway, let's get back on track here.
It's weird that I put my hat on backwards today. I've been wearing it forward almost all the time, and I put it on backwards, and then Rick's got his on backwards. First of all, Rick had a hat on. That was weird. All right, so my question: Cooper Flagg, number one pick. He had a good game. He had actually a great game and a not so great game. Is he going to be a fantasy stud this year? Like, where are you thinking Cooper Flagg's going to go just in regular drafts, let alone we know he's going to be number one in Dynasty. Where's he going to go in regular drafts, redrafts?
Right. Well, you know, in fantasy drafts, people get a little crazy and they go wild over the names. So he'll probably go higher than he should, but he definitely won't make it past 50, I wouldn't think. Do you agree with that, Rick? Because you're the expert on rankings.
100%. I have Cooper Flagg. I'll just let you know right now. I was off my rankings. I was on Washington or something. I have Flagg right now. I believe I'm going to have him
35.
I bet I have him top 30. He's my 9th forward, and I haven't yet. I'd go center, forward, guard. Then I build my like top 120 or whatever off that. I got Flagg at 9. So he'll be a top 30 guy. I'll leave it at that. Get it back to you. He'll be a top 30 guy for me.
Yeah, he may not finish that high, but he's a rookie. But he's in a great landing spot. With no Kyrie all year, it's going to be him and AD. And like you mentioned in the summer league, his second game, 31 points. He showed us all what he could do. The Mavs shut him down, but he looked very comfortable with the ball at the top of the key. Can pull up or drive anytime he wanted. I don't think he can play point guard, but we'll see if they try more of that in the preseason. But I don't think they should go that route.
I love the fact that everybody's just ignoring the fact that Anthony Davis plays like 40 games a year. And everybody's like, oh, they got AD, they got Cooper Flagg, they got Kyrie. Well, Kyrie ain't playing this year either. Everybody's like, oh, Dallas is stacked. Does everyone forget that Anthony Davis's nickname is Street Clothes? Give me a break. Everybody calm down.
I love it. Cooper Flagg is again 27-4, 1-1-1. I think he's going to be terrific as a rookie. We had Derek Queen played well. I believe it was 3 straight doubles, William. And then got hurt, and he's had wrist surgery. I believe it was left wrist surgery. And correct me if I'm wrong, he's a righty. So that's not probably a huge deal, although it could disrupt the start of his season. It could cause Messi to start. So how are you reading all of that? What did you think about Queen at the Summer League?
Well, my opinion may be different than most. He has strong numbers, of course. He averaged a double-double. So just looking at the numbers, you say he did well. But his game also brought up a lot of questions for me. He looked slow and heavy at times out there. He was the last one up the court at times. He plays for the Pelicans and got hurt. Who does that sound like? Okay.
What do you mean? Every player on their team is what it sounds like.
Yeah, but he can score in the paint, but it's a struggle at times. He has to work very hard to score. He's way too loose with the ball, takes a lot of bad shots. He has skill. I just wish he had more athleticism to go with it, because he pretty much scores by bullying his way to the rim. And it worked in college. It worked solid in the Summer League. But I do wonder how that's going to work in the actual NBA. I think he's going to need to get his conditioning up, and we'll see how that goes. But, yeah.
Yeah, a little doughy. Doughy Derek. We have Doughy Doncic. You know what? He's not Doughy Doncic anymore, though.
All right.
Doc, I think I got to kill the nickname, dude. I think we got to bury the nickname.
Derek Queen's been eating too much Dairy Queen.
And he's Doughy Derek. Look, all kidding aside, I don't mean to bang on the young fella. I love your analysis, William. You're spot on with all of that. Some of that can be written off a little bit. Your Summer League, you're the guy putting up to bat, take chances, explore, experiment, all that kind of stuff. However, like your analysis is spot on. The turnovers were too high. But of all of what you said, like they can work and fix all that, right? Basketball IQ, and you just teach guys and they learn. He's got to get in better shape because he's a really skilled offensive big, and that's why Joe Dumars is so psyched about him, traded all that stuff to get him. But he's got to get into better shape. Otherwise, you're going to end up on the training table with DeJounte, with
Zion.
Who's the other? Trey Murphy, all these guys. All right, let's move on here. Summer.
I tell you what.
slumps. Yeah.
One last thing on Queen. I'm glad. I mean, I don't know how serious. It's his off wrist. Is that correct? It's not his shooting hand. Do we know?
I believe so. Yes.
I think it's his offhand, and I'm glad that it's a wrist and not a knee or an ankle, because if he couldn't run for 3 months, that might be a real problem with the conditioning thing. So at least it's his arm, so he can still work out and hopefully come in with better conditioning.
He's a right-handed player, so the left wrist isn't quite as concerning. All right, we have William Harris with us. It is Rick Kamla. It is Hall of Famer Steve Alexander. We have Andre Lemouche with us as well. lurking, assessing, judging. Just kidding. William Harris at William is B, host of the All Rookie podcast on the Sports Ethos Network. I love messing with Andre because Andre talks to us a lot, but he never talks on the show. So I don't know. We just love messing with Andre. He's our guy. All right, Doc, kick us off here with the first guy that's kind of underperformed a little bit at the Summer League and get William cranked up.
Well, I'm going to say this guy's name wrong, but Nolan Traore.
I like that. Let's say it like that every time. No, but his shooting, Nolan Traore's shooting was terrible. His finishing was not great. He had a game where he scored 2 points, but he did show speed out there, the ability to create. But he's going to need shooters around him and a lot of talent for him to be successful. And unfortunately, he plays for the Nets. So that's not going to work out too well. But he got to his spots, ran the floor very well. But he's going to have to make shots. I doubt he will have a good rookie season. But with more experience, he should get better each year. Wasn't great, though.
Andre's trying to help us out with the pronunciation guide with the phonetic, where you do 2 letters, then a hyphen, then 2 letters, then a hyphen. I don't know how to process this. It's TR-AW-R-AI. Does not compute. They were calling him Traore on draft night when I was watching on ESPN. Can we rock with Traore? Is that what they were calling him on the Summer League broadcast? Traore?
It's different. Multiple people say it different ways.
Traore.
Okay, now I'm even more confused.
Right.
I'm moving on because this dude's not going to be fantasy relevant at all. Talk to me about
Bingo. Ding, ding, ding.
Talk to me about Ben Saraf, another fantasy irrelevant Brooklyn Net, right?
Yep. Both of these guys averaged 7 points per game, not much else. He played at his own pace out there. He was able to get to the paint, make some plays. I liked his movement, his handle, his passing, but he's got to shoot it better as well and cut down on the turnovers. It's like the Nets have a developmental point guard program right now. If you combine both of those guys, then you have a solid player. But obviously you can't do that. But that just lets you know they should have went with someone else with one of those picks for sure, or use both of those picks to trade up because they passed up on the opportunity to get a lot of good guys having 5 first-round picks. You got 2 of them that are not looking that great.
What does this mean for Igor Demin?
Now, Igor, they had him playing off ball, and I saw a report where they said that was strictly a summer league thing. They wanted to see how that looked, but during the season, he will be on ball. So I'm not so concerned about Igor. His shot looked great, and that's what we wanted to see because that was his main concern in his shot, and his shot looked well. So I don't have concern on Igor, but I do have a lot of concern with Nolan and Ben.
Doc, you're up, bro.
Yannick Conan Niederhauser. Seems like he's got tools and skills, but he's kind of raw at the same time. What do you think about him?
Yeah, he definitely looked raw in the summer league, and that's unfortunate because he's a senior. But he showed what he can do on defense and with his shot blocking. He stayed in good paint position, but he definitely needs to get stronger and more aggressive. So I'm not too worried because this year he's 3rd string, so he's got the time to get stronger and develop. Working with the pro team, he'll get that, but he does not look ready right now to step on the NBA court yet. So I see why they brought in Brook Lopez. Yannick had a 1-point game and a 2-point game, and both of those games he played over 20 minutes. So that can't happen. So it's a developmental year for him, but I think his future is still bright.
Good takes on that, man. Boy, their Clippers roster loaded. Brook Lopez is your backup big. My God.
Dude, you know what we didn't mention the other day when we were talking about that is with the Clippers, how old their roster is, dude. That's the oldest roster in the league by far. It has to be. And they just added 40-year-old Chris Paul to it. Totally not my style, but I'm kind of gonna have fun with it. I think I kind of want the Clippers to put it together and do something this year. I'm not gonna bet on it, but they're so old. Every guy on that roster, Nick Batum, could be my grandfather.
Good point. Batum's old as dirt. Still a good player though. Do you guys remember that year when the LA Lakers had all the old guys and the whole league was banging, "You're too old. You're too old. It's not going to work." And you know what? Everybody that was saying that was right. It didn't work. They were too old. The average age of the Clippers is projected to be around 30.7. That would probably be the oldest roster in the league. I mean, you bring in Chris Paul at 41. That's going to tilt the numbers that way. All right, one more guy here who kind of underperformed. And are you pushing a panic button or not on Carter Bryant, the rookie for San Antonio?
Well, the overall consensus on Carter Bryant was he had an excellent summer league. That's if you're looking at Twitter, and highlights. But he only averaged 7 points, 4 boards, 1.5 assists, and had 3 turnovers per game. And that was in 25 minutes per game. So it was not a small sample size, it being that it was in 4 games. He shot 27% from 3, 27% from the field. That's not good. He did average 2 blocks, which is great. He showed tremendous hustle and defensive prowess, showed flashes of what he can do on offense, but it's going to take some time. He's 19, shot way better in college than he did in the summer league. So I don't know if it was too fast for him, but he's going to have time to develop. In college, he only averaged 6 points and 4 boards per game. So we kind of know he's a project. And I think that's why the Spurs drafted him, knowing they still have Harrison Barnes, who you guys hate, I know. But they're like, Carter Bryant will have time to develop behind him. We don't have to rush him in. And when Barnes is ready to go out the door, then Carter will be ready to come in. But his summer league was shaky to me. But the defense looked good. People were hyping the defense because he was giving his all. But that was the game against the Mavs where Cooper Flagg still had 31 points. So don't expect much this year.
I don't hate Harry Barnes. I just want him to get out of the way. Like, just go away. And take Chris Middleton with you, bro. Like, both of you just go somewhere and leave my kids alone. Leave those kids alone, little Pink Floyd. Hey, y'all need to check out the All Rookie podcast with William. He does a great job. Really in tune with rookies, way more so than I am. And speaking of rookies, Rick, we're done talking about rookies. Let's talk about some of the more experienced guys who made some noise at Summer League. You got any?
Yeah, let's dive into that. Just super quick before we do that, I want to sit on Carter Bryant for a minute here, and I want to vet this depth chart thing because I have Carter Bryant as a backup right now. I don't feel good about this. He's got the draft capital that would maybe keep you as a backup, but he would be. I gotta verify. Is Julian Champagnie under contract with Spurs? I'm 99.9% sure he is.
I think he is. Yeah.
Signed with the team for 3 seasons. As I look at this right now, and Carter Bryant underperforming at the summer league, who is a second unit guy? Okay, Kelly Olynyk and Luke Cornett. I guess I'm gonna probably. Who do you guys? I have Olynyk and then I have Cornett. I think Olynyk's a better player. I'm gonna rock with that. Sohan's my backup 4 on this depth chart. Keldon Johnson's the backup 3. Right now, I've got Carter Bryant on the second unit, Julian Champagnie on the third unit. I don't feel good about that right now. I want to make that switch. Do you guys agree that Carter Bryant should be on their third string and that Julian Champagnie should be on their second string, which would make Carter Bryant fantasy irrelevant and bring Champagnie back on the radar in deeper leagues? Doc, you go first on that. Are you buying the logic with that?
Yeah, Champagnie's got experience. He should be better this year. He should be getting better each year. I think it's Champagnie.
I agree.
Okay, so and Champagnie's been he's had a good foothold on playing time with this team, even if it's 13 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes for 2 years running now. So okay, and William, your great analysis of Carter Bryant. I was like, I have Carter Bryant over depth charted right now, if that's a word or a verb. Guys, we want you to subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast if you are watching on YouTube, and if you have questions, drop your comments or questions in the comment section of the YouTube videos. And okay, so we're vetting depth chart things quickly here. Do you guys who would you put as the backup 5 in San Antonio behind Wemby? Kelly O or Cornette? Doc, you first.
I'm leaning Cornette just because he's younger and I was so high on him this year. If he stayed in Boston, like he was gonna be really good. But now playing behind Wemby, it's gonna be a long season. Olynyk can also play 4. He doesn't have to be just a 5. So I think I'm going Cornette, but it's really, really close. Who knows?
I do think Olynyk is better, but because Cornette came from Boston to San Antonio, they gave him a little bit of money. I think he'll be second, because otherwise he could have stayed in Boston, right?
The reason I looked at that and I was like, I think I have that wrong. Kelly Olynyk was acquired in a trade, right? But he's in an expiring contract, might not end the season with San Antonio. They just signed Luke Cornette to a 4-year, $41 million deal. I'm moving Cornette to number 2, and Kelly.
Ship it.
Kelly O might be the best third-string center in the NBA, by the way, but I've got him on their third string. All right, I want to, as we get into, as Doc was saying, some veteran risers, to get us into this with Cam and Doc and William Harris, I want to read the All-Summer League first team and All-Summer League second team, because there's a ton of veterans on these lists. The first team was Neek Clifford, Kyle Filipowski, David Jones-Garcia, Jordan Miller, Terrence Shannon Jr. Filipowski, Miller, Shannon, all being upperclassmen. I know David Jones-Garcia was a big player with San Antonio. It's the first I've ever heard of him. Okay, so to me, he's a rookie. He might have played 1 game for the Spurs last year. I don't even know. And then the second team, Ron Holland of Detroit, upperclassman. Isaac Jones, I know nothing about him other than him playing well in Summer League. It's the first I ever knew of him. Actually, that's not true. I think he was on a 2-way with Sack last year. Con Knippel, obviously a rookie. A.J. Mitchell, a returning guy, a vet. And K.J. Simpson, a vet. So I just wanted to read that, William, because that's a lot of upperclassmen who are the best players at the Summer League, and nobody should be surprised by that. It's pretty chalky here. So, Doc, do you want to ask the first question here? It's kind of, you see it? Or do you want me to go?
You mean the one that is under the word Rick?
I don't know. All right, let me.
I'm doing it.
Go ahead, Doc.
Who immediately popped for you? Like non-rookies. Who was your favorite non-rookie outside of Filipowski, who we've already talked about?
Right. You have to exclude Filipowski because he's definitely the guy, the MVP. But it was a lot of guys that were kind of equal to me. But if I have to narrow it down, Terrence Shannon for the Timberwolves, everyone's talking about him, so I don't want to talk about him too much. But he showed what he can do: 23 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals. And he bum rushed Michael Peavy and hurt another rookie. He just took him out for no reason. But he's ready to go already. They shut him down. Terrence Shannon should have a good role for Minnesota. We know Nickeil Alexander-Walker is out of the rotation, so that should step it up for him. I loved Ron Holland for Detroit. His rookie season was kind of shaky. He came in for the Summer League second year in a row. Good Summer League, 22 points, 6 boards, 4 steals per game. So he's ready to go. I don't know how they're going to do with their minutes because they have a lot of young guys as well, but he showed that he deserved some time. And a guy that nobody's talking about, though, is Kobe Buffkin, the backup point guard for the Atlanta Hawks. I think people should look out for him. Average 20 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. And his first 2 years, he's been in the G League and he's been hurt a lot. So now it looks like he's back. The Hawks need a backup point guard. He's looking like he's ready to come in and secure that role.
I'm hearing a lot of hype from my colleagues, mainly you two and maybe Andre, about Terrence Shannon. And am I sleeping too hard on this guy? Is he going to be one of those late round fantasy darlings this year?
I don't know. I don't see that. Doc, I think he's a 30 deep guy, right? A 16 team league guy, a 20 team league guy. If you're in a 12 team league, you're not messing around with Terrence Shannon Jr. If a guy gets hurt, like God forbid Jaden McDaniels gets hurt, Terrence Shannon Jr. might start and might become a really big deal in fantasy basketball, but he would need an injury. And you still have Dante. Dillingham's going to play more. You still have Nasreed off that bench. Our guy, what's his name? Jean Béranger. Hopefully I'm getting that right. Like, he looked pretty good. So my Wolves are winning this chip next year, man. You guys can't tell me nothing about my Wolves, man. And I'm geeked. I am geeked about Shannon and Dillingham. Geeked about. Cannot wait to watch them next year with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
He'll probably be better in real life than fantasy, you know.
Agreed.
Sort of like Jade McDaniels.
Yeah.
He had moments last year. He had some moments last year.
Yeah,
all right. What else do we have here?
G League players.
G League players. Go ahead, Doc.
G Leaguers or second year players that you saw that turned your head.
Well, as far as G League, you mentioned Isaac Jones. He stood out to me. You know, he had a 36.6 rebound game, and he could be the backup power forward rotation type of guy in Sacramento. Let me know what you think about that, Rick. But, you know, he showed some good signs last year as well when he got a few spot minutes in Sacramento. Did great in the G League. And like I said, he averaged 18 points and 7 boards in the summer league. That 36-point explosion kind of opens people's eyes. But I don't know if he'll get minutes or not. But you tell me that, Rick.
So my Sacramento depth chart, I feel pretty good about this one. Obviously, Sabonis, Murray, DeRozan, Levine, Monk. Some think that Schroeder will start over Monk. I find that very, very hard to believe. I also find it very, very hard to believe that they gave Dennis Schroeder 3 years and $45 million, you dummies. Like, how stupid. Good for Dennis. But my backups here are Eubanks, Saric, Nick Clifford, Keon Ellis, and Schroeder. And I don't see anybody budging that. You've got Raynaud as the third string center. Isaac Jones I've got as the a wing. It's the 2, 3, 4. When you get this deep on rosters, it's Doug McDermott is there, Kobe Jones is there, Devin Carter, who was a lottery pick last year, projects as a third stringer for me on my depth chart. So I don't see Jones playing. I don't see Raynaud playing. I don't see any of these guys playing. If they had to go to their third unit, it would be Devin Carter first. And those guys are kind of vying to be a 12th man kind of thing. All right, let's vet this question here.
Wait, I got one more guy, Rick.
Yeah, what's up? Oh, I'm sorry, okay. William. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But you do think Sark is still alive? He's still alive, right?
I mean, they traded Valanciunas for him. Sure. That tells me that they think he can still play. Now, at Sacramento, they make more mistakes than hits. So I'm not saying I love Dario Saric. You're telling me that you think Isaac Jones has a chance to get playing time over Dario Saric. That's what you're telling me, right?
I think Saric is washed, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Doc, I know you agree with me, Doc. You hate older players, right?
Maybe.
I've always had a soft spot in my heart for a homie Dario, but it's that part of that ship has sailed, dude.
But as far as the second year player, I gotta shout out Matas Buzelis for the Bulls. Oh. You know, he finished 256 last year in fantasy. Had a weird rookie season. This year he's projected to start. He was 6th in scoring in the summer league, averaging 22 points per game. Shot it well, and you know, he's definitely going to average more than 8 points and 3 boards this year. So that's a second year guy to look out for.
How many minutes a game is he going to play, William?
It should be 30. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with Patrick Williams, but Patrick Williams has lost that job, I would think.
Rick, I'm swinging. I'm on the fence, and it's swinging back the other way towards our last show. Our last show, we had a little player debate about Buzelis and who was the other one? Do you remember?
Jabari Smith. It was Jabari.
Jabari Smith and Buzelis. And I said Jabari Smith, but I think over the last couple of hours or days, I'm changing my mind to Buzelis.
Opportunity is key.
I love it. All right, so it's Rick Kamla, it's Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, and we have William Harris with us here as well. We have a question for the end of our show here. Shout out to Tiago Cordero. Tiago, thank you so much for being around and hanging out with us, man. Question is, on a dynasty league where depth is important, which side of this trade would you pick? Side one is Jalen Johnson and Brandon Miller. Here we go again. And Brandon Miller or Sar, Giddey, Kobe White, Devin Vassell, and Yang Hansen. Holy cow.
Wow.
Sar, Giddey, White, Vassell, I say it like a baseball announcer, and Yang, Vassell, or Jalen Johnson and Brandon Miller. Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm going to take – dude, I'm taking the Sar, Giddey, White, Vassell, Yang side. I'm taking that side because Jalen Johnson and Brandon Miller are studs, but I think Sar and Giddey are studs as well. And then I'm getting 3 other guys out of the deal. I'm on that side. I'm on the Sar, Giddey, White, Vassell, Yang side. William, how about you?
Yeah, that's a tough one. But since you're pointing out depth is important, I'm assuming you need those 5 guys. So that does push it over the top because you're getting 4 really good guys and a potential for a really good guy. That is tough though. That is tough. But I'm gonna go with the expert Rick on that one. I'll go with that one. Doc,
if Jalen Johnson did not have this ridiculous injury history, building up, I would not do that. But because Jalen Johnson, do you need the depth that bad? Like, is Devin Vassell and Yang Hansen, are they going to do enough the next 2 years to make it worth it? I don't know. Devin Vassell plays in a very, very crowded situation in San Antonio. And Kobe White, Rick thinks he's going to get traded. I think the Bulls are in on Kobe White. I don't think it's as dire as it might seem, but who knows? I could be wrong. I'm going to play contrarian. I'm going to say keep Jalen and Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller and Jalen Johnson there's so much upside there, and they're both potential superstars in this league. I think we've seen the best that Josh Giddey has to offer. I do like the upside of Alex Sarr, though. I feel like it's unlimited. Tough. I'm going Jalen and Brandon Miller, but it's close.
It's close. It's a head scratcher for sure. Josh Giddey is going to soon be Chicago's #1 player. Vooch is in an expiring contract. I don't know that Kobe White's going to be traded, but there's a lot of reports about the possibility of it. Maybe them getting Lonzo Ball out of there. Okay, they're good now. They like what they have. But Kobe White and Devin Vassell are just solid infrastructure guys. Okay, so maybe on another team they're hitting you with Isaac Collier, the kid in Utah. Okay, like I got Kobe White, you got Collier. I'd rather have Kobe White versus Collier. You know, maybe Keontae George is another one. I'd rather have Devin Vassell than that guy. So I know that they're not super sexy and they're in crowded spots and stuff like that, but those guys are still going to put up goodies. And those are just sort of add-ins. Like if you told me Jalen Johnson and Brandon Miller for Sarr and Giddey, to me that's a debate. If it's 2 for 2, I'm probably going Jalen and Brandon, but I may go. But Sarr and Giddey aren't that far off. Then you add in Kobe Vassell and our guy Yang Hansen. I got to go on that side of it. William, anything you want to tout? Anything you want to promote? Now's the time, my friend.
Well, just thank y'all for having me on again. The All Rookie Podcast is always here for you guys, and you might catch me back on here. Just stay tuned. And I don't have anything to promote right now. I'm ready for preseason. We got a lull right now, but you guys are killing it right now in the off season. There's not a lot to talk about, but I got to give you guys props because you're putting out shows all the time and making great content. So thank you guys again for having me on.
Thank you so much, William. I'll be in touch about Cam Dynasty NFL. For Dr. A, for William, for Andre, I am Cam. Couple of reminders. Go to your app store and download the SportsEthos app. It's amazing. Blurbs, continuous, voluminous, NFL, MLB, and of course, NBA. Go to sportsethos.com. Get our fantasy football draft guide. It is the best in the biz, bar none. We do pro football, college football. It's $6 a month, 60% off right now. It's an absolute no-brainer for you. And please subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed, Apple, Spotify, or YouTube channel. We'd appreciate all of that. Peace for now, folks.